Welcome traders to Kairos Capital Markets weekly review of Aussie dollar and pound yen. So we'll hit it off with Aussie dollar to start with, and we're going to look at the weekly chart here. Now the key thing I see here is quite two things. We've got key level at 77 as always. We've got this lower level that hasn't really been respected at all. Well, been respected, but hasn't actually been tested for some time now. But we have this weekly 50 EMA. Now this is the key thing here at the moment. Notice how sometimes it'll test it and pop back up and break down, then come back up, test it, pop back up, test, pop back up, break down, test, come down further, and likewise again. So just going on this previous examples here so far, what we've got now is a test with an inside bar as such, not the cleanest, but it's still an inside bar of the weekly 50 EMA. So the path of least resistance right now for the following week will be head back up to 77. You can argue whether that's Aussie strength or dollar weakness, but to be quite honest at the moment, we don't need to worry about too much of that. We just need to have an idea where we think this chart will go next. So we think it'll go up to 77 just purely because of the way it's been testing the weekly 50. So let's look on the daily chart and see what we've got there. Unfortunately, the daily chart, we are now sitting at the daily 50 EMA now. We are the daily 50, yeah. So I don't particularly want to trade through that, although in a range the 50 EMA isn't normally respected as an average, but in a range it doesn't normally represent too much. It still gives me some form of doubt over the trade, because if we was going to say come up then come down to test it, you could say as a trend line put a lower high in, and then obviously interest rates would need to add up to that, and then where would you want to take it? We want to risk up to 77 with all the wars going on and everything else at the moment? Maybe not. So personally myself, I will just wait for it to come to the top and looking to get at 77 again if we see these signals. That's what be my plan personally. You may find some extra confidence factors during the intraday action, but that's not really my style, as you probably find out by now. So myself personally, path of least resistance is 77, but it's got to have a clean break of this daily 50 EMA. That's the result of this one. Pound yen's a little bit more interesting now. So if you remember last week, what I said was, if you notice this bearish engulfing candle had closed below the tweezers, and I said that's a very, very strong bearish move, an indication on the pair, and then we're looking to head lower. And what happened last week? We did head lower with another bearish engulfing candle. So not the massive biggest candle in the world, but it's still closed out to the bottom bearish. So there's a lot of volume to the downside there. There was. What I'm looking for on the daily now would be some form of pullback to this 138 area where the trend line meets up and where the daily 50 would meet up as well. So anything around here would be quite nice, but bear in mind it has to pull back, slow down the reversal candle. In all fairness, that's going to take more than just a couple of days. It would probably be like Thursday Friday time you'll be looking at that, in which case if it does that, the weekly does give you it would be an outside reversal candle here as well, but not at any real form of key level, so there are still risks within that trade. But then obviously if you do the multi time frame analysis and looks down to the lower time frames, you may find some short term trade. If you take this long, you've got to have some bullish to say this, the weekly chart says it looks like maybe going long, you then need to have some bullish confirmation on the daily chart, and just having one lower low doesn't actually predict anything whatsoever. But there, so personally myself, that's what we're looking for here, this kind of area, and see what happens at the time there with all other pound pairs and yen pairs. With that said, just going over my pairs for last week very quickly for you. ZAR JPY, I did take long, as you know. I took it long around this area here somewhere a couple of days ago. Obviously it's just flirted around, done nothing too much, but we are looking to move higher. The weekly chart obviously has put in a little kind of doji low test there around the weekly 50, and this is why I like it so much. The weekly 50 has given it great confidence there, and obviously my target will be to get out before the daily 50, and let me explain why that one is. Let's go over that one. We missed it on the DDP, but it's actually the daily 50 has been great support and resistance all the way through this chart it has. So I just want to get out there before that, so it's at 8.4 is my limit to get out there. Okay guys, I hope you had a good Easter, and I'll speak to you soon.